This got insanely intense, insanely fast. How's everyone doing today, guys? My name's Decodes, and for those who were saying that the Bad Batch doesn't tackle anything serious, here you freaking go. Okay, before we really get into that, I've said it a few times, especially with the past few episodes, when it comes to the show, the Bad Batch, doing some fun side adventures to help build character or build like a lore or maybe just plant a seed. I'm fine with that. I mean, but at the same time, I tell myself, it's like as long as there are episodes like these next two episodes that we're going to be talking about because they were released at the same time, it's the mid-season finale, so that's exactly what they wanted to do. So this is the Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 7, the Clone Conspiracy, and yeah, I mean, man, it's just, it's so crazy how, I'll admit this, so I remember, I was just watching this whole episode, just, a part of me remembers just thinking like, man, remember in Phantom Menace when everyone was so sick and tired of the politics, they just didn't want to hear about this? This whole episode and the next episode is pretty much just surrounding, like, I mean, Clone Wars did this a lot as well, but it's just, it always amazes me how well it's done. I don't know, it's so, okay, let's get into this. So the episode, the Clone Conspiracy, it starts off with a couple of clones at that clone bar on Coruscant that we've seen a lot in Clone Wars. I forget what it's called, but these two clones, Slip and Cade, they're talking, and as we find out, they're clones that were a part of Admiral Rampart's ship when Kamino was destroyed, when Tipoca City was destroyed, and okay, but before we talk about that real quick, I actually like how the shot feels very reminiscent of Fives' story in Clone Wars when he has to go on the run and he's hiding out. He goes to the bar. He goes to the specific bar because it's a bar that clones always go to, so it makes sense that he would go there. But here it's just these clones are talking about the fact that they destroyed their home basically, like, and the fact that it's being covered up as not even as, oh, well, I mean, it was wiped out by a storm. That's basically the cover-up story of this. So, of course, for these clones, they're thinking about the decisions that they made, whereas Cade is talking about, like, well, that doesn't feel right, but Slip is like, well, we were following orders. What were we supposed to do? And then Cade basically then leans into, he's like, well, that's gonna change. And then I'm just thinking, like, so in my immediate, and then Slip's like, like, what did you do? So in my immediate moment there, I'm thinking, okay, we have a few seeds planted in it. My first thought was he contacted Rex or even maybe Cody because, we know Rex is a part of it. Rex is out there and Cody went AWOL. So I was thinking, like, okay, he must have contacted them to give him some information, and now they're going to try and expose them somehow. No, he said, I went to Admiral Rampart and basically, and told him to tell the truth, and I'm like, oh no. I mean, I can see why he would do that, because, he's a soldier, he doesn't want to go too far off the book, but at the same time, I'm like, you're basically threatening the Admiral at that point. You're basically threatening Rampart. So the fact that you decide to do it and not do anything else, like, at least he tells Slip here. He tells Slip that he does this, so, and of course Slip, like I said, he was there, so he knows what actually happened on Kamino. He basically has the information too, but the fact that Cade just, oh my god, and of course, as rightfully so, as they leave the bar, Cade gets shot, Cade gets sniped. At first I thought it was, Crosshairs. I think everyone assumed it was Crosshairs. But then we get a silhouette of the sniper a little bit, and it didn't have Crosshair's armor, so my second thought was, ooh, maybe Fennec, maybe this is Fennec, maybe Rampart hired Fennec to take to take out Cade, because we know Fennec's an assassin and is a well-known sniper, so maybe that's a nice callback to season 1. But we later find out that's not the case either. But Cade gets shot and Slip is able to escape in a nice fun little sequence, because it's basically, you're dealing with a sniper. Slip's trying to take him out, but it's a sniper versus essentially a guy with a pistol, so that's not gonna work. So Slip gets the sniper gives him the slip. Basically, is the best way to say that, because come on, the guy's name is Slip. The clone's name is Slip. Of course, you're gonna say that. So Slip gets away, and then we cut to the Senate, where we get a man. This took a second, because I'm like thinking. So we get Senator Riyo Chuchi, I believe is the name of this character. I forget, but it took me a second, because I remember, like the second she pops up on screen, starts talking, I'm like, wait, like, so she's a senator. She was in Clone Wars. She was like all the way back in season 1. Like, it's crazy how she just comes kind of out of left field. Like, there's some names that you can remember, that from like Clone Wars, that's like, oh yeah, I remember them, or like even other Star Wars media, but like her, it took me a second to really to recognize her, and then once I did, like especially with the voice, I'm like, I've heard that voice before. Her design's a little bit different, because this is season 1 Clone Wars versus season 2 of the Bad Batch. It's like, it's a very big difference in terms of her design and her, but no, once I figured it out, I'm like, oh my god, that is crazy how they're bringing her back after all those years. And it makes sense as to what she's doing here, and that's to defend the clones in a way, because the fact that the clones, they don't have a say in any of this, and there's the Senate debating on whether or not, because Kamino was destroyed in a cataclysmic storm, what are they going to do now that they don't have the clone troopers? And it's like, well, should we be initiating this other military service, have the people basically the stormtrooper program, or, are we done with war? I mean, Bail Organa, there's that argument. It's like, the war is over. What are we fighting for now? It's like, well, we got insurgents going around, we got to contain it. There's still chaos throughout the galaxy, especially in the mid and outer rims, blah, blah, blah. But it's crazy how, all of this is going down, and you didn't even, like, I love how a part of me didn't even think about that, really. Like, when Kamino was destroyed, I was thinking, oh, it's gonna be destroyed, maybe it won't really come back, because I'm like thinking, well, who really cares about the clones at this point? The war, even, freaking Tarkin in the first episode of the show, was coming in to shut down the program, like talking about like your deal was with the Republic, we're the Empire now, so we're done with clones. So I was thinking, they were just gonna basically do that. But no, here, they really dive into the facts that, yeah, these are soldiers. Clone Wars talked about that a lot, especially on like the Umbara storyline with General Krell. Like, God, really diving into the fact that these clones are men. Like, these are actual people in ways, because they all, despite the fact that all of them look exactly the same, they all share different personalities. It's such a, Clone Wars, again, really did a great job at building these characters. Heck, some of my favorite characters in Clone Wars were the clones. Like, Rex was great. The Bad Batch is great. There's so many great clones. Even if they had, like, very small stories, they were really solid stories, and you really felt like they were all different, despite the fact that they all had the same face and the same voice. That's how great D. Bradley Baker's job as a voice actor is. He's just able to make you feel like you can see 100 of the exact same face, but you can tell them apart because of not just like, oh, their armor, but also their personality, of their, like, you can literally, like, my God, it's such a good job. And here, these clones, especially some of the clones who are still fighting, like, well, wait, if we're not going to fight anymore, what are we going to do after that? It's like, because they were literally bred for war, so what's afterwards? And Rebels kind of saw that a bit. We know. I mean, if Rebels, Wolf, Rex, and Gregor, they're just retired men, basically on this planet somewhere here. But no, yeah, we were talking about these clones who were basically, they could be tossed aside like it's nothing, and it's just. But these are all men, and they have lives, and it's like it's crazy how that just throws all this in, but it doesn't feel out of place. I mean, again, this is in the midst of the Empire, and this focuses on the clones, and that's like, I mean, the Bad Batch are clones. These are clones. Like, it's not like this is an episode of, it's not like this is like part of Revenge of the Sith, and then it's thrown, and they just throw it in, and like that would make it completely feel out of place. Here, it feels perfectly in place, and it's such a good job, because Riyo, she is trying to defend these clones. She wants to give them something, like maybe give them a life after the war, and like, she's trying to do everything she can to help these clones, and eventually, she gets in contact with Slip, who is trying to help her with this, and that being like, help her reveal the truth of what really happened on Kamino. And so she and Bail Organa, they're trying to figure out. They're trying to figure out like what's happening, the truth, and the truth is, I mean, Rampart ordered Kamino to be destroyed, and but unfortunately, they're trying to Slip is trying to be silent, and that's exactly what happens. Unfortunately, he gets taken out by a sniper again, and so then Riyo, who I gotta admit, I think what's really good about Rio's character in this is not only does she get more character from when she was in Clone Wars, but also I feel like for anyone who doesn't remember her that much in Clone Wars, like, again, it took me a second to recognize her, and even for those who maybe not have seen all of Clone Wars, or maybe just only know the basics of Clone Wars and don't know the full-on, like, show itself, because there's 130 some episodes of Clone Wars. It's like, there's a lot to get through. So this really feels like, her in this episode, you could easily see it as like, oh, this could have been a brand new character. It still would have felt the same in a way, but it's done really well. The only thing that is included here, in my opinion, that would make some fans be like, wait, what? She knows him? Like, and that's when, so after the sniper takes out Slip, who gives Riyo the information, along with some info on how to get the truth about Rampart's, actual, choice, is, she gets chased by she gets pursued by the sniper. It leads to this warehouse scene where she's trying to hide out, but the sniper keeps closing in on her until eventually, an ex machina comes in the form of Captain Rex, who, okay, and this is another, I thought at first to start, the way it's revealed is cool, because, Riyo, she's sneaking around, it's kind of a bit of a fog around the warehouse, and then all of a sudden you see someone sneaking up from behind, and she's like, oh man, she's screwed. All of a sudden you see some like stun, you see a few stun shots, and so at first I thought it was the sniper stunning her, being like, I was only told to take him out, I don't want to take you out, or something else. But then no, we revealed, no, it's not the sniper, it's another guy. And I thought it was going to be Commander Cody, because we already had that seeded a few episodes ago, that being Cody went AWOL. So I thought this was Cody hiding out, and he would have been the contact, because, Rex and Cody, they're a duo in a way sometimes in Clone Wars. I was wondering maybe they would team up. But no, it's Rex. Still happy to see Rex, but then Riyo recognizes him and says Captain Rex. So that's the only thing I feel like for some people would be like, if they didn't remember Riyo from Clone Wars, or maybe not have seen all of Clone Wars, they would be like, oh, she knows Rex? Okay, that's interesting. But basically, Rex gets her out of there and takes the sniper. They take him hostage. They go down to 1313 with the sisters, to the sisters' garage from season 7 of Clone Wars. I forget their names because honestly, that wasn't really one of the best arcs in Clone Wars, in my opinion. I mean, they were in season 1 of Bad Batch, for an episode. I mean, they know Rex, they know Ahsoka, so there are those ties, and that's where they go. At first, I thought they went to the same place that Fives hid in his story arc, where he had Rex and Anakin come, where he can try to tell him about the inhibitor chips. But this is where the sisters' garage is, and that's where they're hiding out. And Rex says, "Oh, the cup belongs to a few friends of mine, but they're away now, so we can use it for the meantime." And so they try to interrogate the sniper, who's revealed to be another clone. However, the thing is, this clone has no number. He's basically a clean slate. And so, like, probably the literal definition of the disposable clone that some of the people of the Senate try to believe they are. Like, this is literally like, this person was made to be this thing, and it's got nothing. It's got no personality, basically, no number, and even like what it says to Rex, like it's like basically you're following the wrong path, and then he basically ends himself, and it's like, jeez. But it's clear who sent him Rampart. I mean, there is that they do have a message. They do have a scene where Rampart's like, "Did you get him?" And it's like, "I got one. The other got away. Hunt him down. Make sure no one else figures it out." And yeah, but pretty much this episode leads into who's got to come get them out of there. It's gonna be the Bad Batch, and that's the other thing. The Bad Batch didn't even pop up in this episode. I mean, I like that. I like episodes like this where you know they're gonna be coming. So this is a nice way to like give us the information and just set things up, because who knows what happens in the next one, because oh man, we got a half a season left, so there's no way this goes good. There's no way this goes well. Like I said, I'm watching these episodes back to back, but I took a break in between. Like, I'm literally gonna be throwing on episode 8 in a few minutes after I'm done with this, to watch it, gain some notes, see what happens, and yeah, we'll see what happens. So we'll see you guys right there.